Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here today to talk to you about some of the miracle stories that are happening right here in our own city, in our own state, every day. My name is Tony Kausha, and the title of our show is Tony's 50,000 Coincidence Miracles. Please note, this show is not about religion, and we're not trying to change anyone's religion, and we're not trying to get you to join any religion. It's just about miracle stories. I don't know of any religion on the planet that doesn't talk about miracles. That's why religions begin, because they have something that's telling them there's really a God. But we're not going to get into that. We're going to just talk about miracles and leave the decisions about all that up to you. So we don't care what religion you are. We just want to talk about miracles. If you are an atheist, I think you'll enjoy the program as well, although I can't guarantee you'll remain an atheist very long after you hear many convincing stories, coincidence kinds of stories about miracles. You can email me your own stories if you wish. We'll try to use all we can on the show. I can't guarantee we will, depending on volume and time, but you're welcome to send your stories on to us, and we will mention them when we can. You can send them to the following email address. But please notice that if we do use your story, we won't mention your name. We'll keep you anonymous. And we suggest that in your story, when you send it to us, don't use your correct name. That way anyone listening will not be able to figure out that it was you that sent the story in. The email address you can send your stories to is very easy to remember. It consists of 2 words and 3 numbers. The first word is Tony, spelled Tony, and the second word is and, spelled A-N-D, and the numbers are 777. So once again, the name is Tony and 777 at AOL.com. Well, let us begin. Hi, everyone. This is the 28th week. That's 28. And you want to get a pencil and paper while we're talking so you can jot things down later. Before I start sharing some miracles today, I want to answer some questions I've been getting, basic questions, important ones, and we're going to call this the black ink story. Black ink. You know, when they used to write with a pen, they used to use ink. So this is the black ink story. The questions I get, I'm summarizing it now, but I get questions like, what's the big deal about Adam and Eve? Why does everybody make a big deal about what Adam and Eve did? They ate some fruit from the tree. And similarly, why are the Jews waiting for a Messiah? Why do the Jews need a Messiah? And then the other part is, well, why do the Christians need a Jesus? And why did Jesus have to come and save them? What was necessary to be saved? So these are important questions, What's the big deal about Adam and Eve? Was it a problem? Did they sin or not? Why is it so important the Jews are waiting for a Messiah? And why is it so important that we say Jesus is our Savior? Why do we need a Savior? So the answers are probably involved, and you probably have to read 100 books of philosophy and theology and take some college courses to get a perfectly refined answer if there is one. But after 45 years of answering questions, I thought I'd offer you something that'll help put that to rest. So it's called the black ink story. So what happened was God created Adam and Eve and the universe and the planets and the animals and all of the vegetation and the food. He created all those things where once there was nothing. Once upon a time was nothing but just God everywhere for infinity. As far as you could go forever was just God. Like a vast ocean was filled every spot, every space, infinite space, no end. The vast total ocean of God. And he creates things now within himself, and he creates things made out of himself, because whatever space they take up now, they take up space that used to be just him. So whatever we see now is made up in him and of him and out of him. And so when Adam and Eve broke the rule, one simple rule, don't eat the fruit of that tree, what it really was mankind saying, you know what, we don't really have to listen to you. We could do what we want. And in fact, the devil says you're lying to us, so we're going to take charge of matters. And that that was a terrible thing because it broke the heart of God. It was like Adam and Eve slapped God across the face. Now, because God is everywhere and everything is made out of Him, then they slapped everything across the face. So the whole universe, everything, and all the space between the universe, which is just empty space but filled with God, it was as if Adam and Eve poured black ink all over the entire universe and beyond into infinite space. So now this vast, endless ocean is now stained with a black ink, and the only way it can be cleared up now is it's going to take an act of God. So God Himself is going to have to clean it up. Adam and Eve can't clean up, and not only is it infinite space, but it's for eternity. So we need a godly force to clean up the mess of slapping God across the face and telling Him we're going to be our own God. We don't need you as God. And so that's why it's a big deal. Adam and Eve damaged everything. And the Bible explains this in many, many places. St. Paul says we are waiting for, all of creation is waiting for rejuvenation and renewal when the end of time comes and everything gets renewed and we get another second start at another Garden of Eden. And this is all, again, it'll probably take 500 books and many college courses, so I'm just summarizing. But that's why it's a big deal. So to the Jews, it's a Messiah, and the Bible foretold the Messiah was coming in many, many ways. The Messiah would be come from Bethlehem. He would be a Nazarene. And the Christians say, well, the Messiah has already come, and we've met Him, and His name is Jesus. And so that's why it's such a big deal. And Jesus came to save and renew. And basically, very simply stated again, the Messiah comes and Jesus comes, and what happens is an organization has been created, and Jesus has picked some troops, as the Messiah will do also, and the troops will maintain. So Jesus will straighten things out, the Messiah will straighten things out, and then the troops, the soldiers taught by Christ and the Messiah, they will maintain things and keep them straightened out. And so that's why everything's a big deal. It would be impossible for a man or a woman to clean up all the black ink in the universe. Everything has been stained. Everything has been damaged. The flowers are not the same that they would be. The trees are not the same. The birds are not the same. Everything has been damaged and broken. And we live in this world and we think everything's fine, but God saw it before the damage. God knows. I mean, it's like God gave us a Jeep, and we broke all the windows in the Jeep. We damaged all the tires on the Jeep. We lost the battery and we lost the keys, and so the Jeep is useless. And so we think we've got a great Jeep, but it's not a great Jeep because God knows what it should have been instead. So now the question is, well, what does Jesus do or the Messiah do? What is it that they correct? How are they correcting anything? This Jesus or the Messiah, depending on whether you're Jewish or Christian? And the answer is this. What was necessary is that a human being had to come, a human being, and that human being had to be so perfect to offset the imperfections of Adam and Eve. In other words, this human being that comes has to submit to God's will so perfectly that no matter what God's will is, no matter how difficult it might seem or impossible or unreasonable, no matter what condition God might set, the human being has to do it. And by that act, then it tells God that the human beings who slapped you in the face, who rejected you, and who've broken your heart are worthy of continuing to exist, because now you see this human being has proven that human beings are worthy of existence. And now I'd like to tell you about a coincidence miracle that happened actually today, the day that I'm making this recording. It happened earlier today. As you'll read in my book, the title of the book is Tony's 50,000 Coincidence Miracles. And as you read in that book, about 19 years ago, doctors found a spot on my lung. And I kept going for CAT scans, etc., and meetings every 3 months. And this went on for quite a while. And after a while, I was inspired by Jesus to stop going and tell the doctors it's not changing, it's not moving. And so let's just leave it alone. And I think they were talking about going in for a biopsy, etc. I was inspired, no, I don't want to do that and catalyze and activate anything. It's not doing anything now, so let's not get it excited and biopsy, open it up. So that was 19 years ago, and 5 years ago, they took some CAT scans and found they found another one, and I said, wait a minute, go back and check the 19 and make comparisons. And so the doctors did that 5 years ago, and the decision back then was apparently it's the same thing. It looked like apparently the same thing, so okay, we'll just leave it alone for a while, see what happens. Well, it's recently I went for a CAT scan, and it reared its head again, and so I got involved with doctors again, and I went to the doctor today to get a final review now of what's going on now after the 19 years. And I was concerned. My humanity certainly is worried about it, but I've been asking God what to do, and I've been doing what he said, and so here I am. I'm going to the doctor. I had prayed hard about it and prayed hard this morning, and as I'm driving over to the doctor's office, just before I got to his driveway, I noticed that I was following a car, and the license plate number was 555, and 3 5s means the presence of God. So here I was following a car saying presence of God as I went in to see the doctor. I get in to see the doctor, we reviewed things, we discussed things, and I want to tell you something amazing about what his name is. I can't tell you his exact name. It's a foreign name, but I knew from my studies of foreign languages in my life that his last name meant 2 words, of God. So his last name meant of God, spelled O-F and then G-O-D. And I told him, I said, I know your last name means of God, and I was telling him I wrote a book about coincidence miracles, so I'm delighted that you're on the case, Doc. And he said, well, you don't know what my first name means. And he told me his first name means angel. So his full name was Angel of God, and now I know why I was following a car with 3 5s. So far, talking about coincidence miracles, you can see why I believe in license plates with 3 5s and translating people's names. And then we talked about all the pros and cons, and bottom line, we surmised after a long discussion that apparently what's been going on is the other 2 scannings were 2 other spots that have disappeared, and this other spot that's reared its head in 2015, and it's actually gotten smaller since then. So I felt very blessed by God. He gave me a doctor called Angel of God. He showed 3 5s as I was going in, gave me tremendous peace now to wait longer now and see what happens. Apparently this 3rd spot is going to be going away too, based on the history of the last 2 spots. And I left the doctor's office very happy. I thanked God. And as I pulled out of the driveway, very soon after that, I noticed I was following a car, and the license plate number was 444, which is the number, as you may know if you've been listening, 3 4s is a number that reminds us of the blessed holy name of the Mother of God, the Blessed Virgin Mary. Another coincidence miracle is that I got an email from someone who read our book, and they told me that they were in a chapel meditating, and they brought my book along, and they started to read my book, and they got to a place where they felt, as they were reading the words of Jesus in the book, they felt that Jesus was actually reading, and they could feel him audibly talking, saying the same words, which was very moving for them. Our next miracle is about a strange hammering sound. I kept hearing a banging sound in my car while I was driving it. It bothered me for about an hour. I was getting concerned, and I went by the dealership, and Jesus said, stop in and ask them to take a look at it now. I said, Lord, you have to make an appointment. I can't just walk in. Well, he convinced me. Just walk in, trust me, ask them now. So I walked in. The ticket number for the next job to be done hanging on the wall was 6777. And that 6777 had 3 7s, which means the number for God. God bless you all. I'll talk to you next week.